Welcome back to Visual Trigger.
So it seems like I posted a lot, but a lot of that stuff lately was just kind of clearing out the queue. So I know there's like one more Frank Jackson thing out there, but honestly, it may have gone into the archive drive already. I'm not really sure. Oh. Yep. Time for some scotch. Dal 2015. Sorry, excuse me. It's like an ounce, right? Ish. Yeah, so I don't remember when it was when I first saw it, but when was it? It had to have been. Oh my god, am I recording in 4K? No, oh, thank God. I was just like, I'll start over because I won't downsize because there's no reason for this to be in 4K. I don't get why someone on freaking YouTube's got to see it in 4 or 5K. You tell me why that makes sense. Doesn't make sense to me. Especially like talking head shit. If it's maybe like, I don't know, actual photography, yeah, I get it, but no. Del when he's nice. It doesn't bite as much as the Dickel, you know? I mean, you may not know because you may not have been bitten by the Dickel. Even with a little bit of water still. Shit, I don't know why. I don't even know why I need to put my watch on, but I didn't like it sitting over there. So yeah, I said an goddamn anchor word. So I saw this article, and I'm not gonna say who it is and what it is, just because people are such they're little bitches these days, and I think they always have been, but it's even worse now. And I'm not even saying I'm important enough to get I'm not even saying anything that would be cancelable. However, there was this article, and I'll digress. I've always thought it was weird when people called themselves street photographers, and you saw that in camera companies that would do some marketing or PR thing, and they would, put street photographer. In fact, a friend of mine was called a professional street photographer, and I was like, yo, bro, you gotta tell them that you don't want to be known as that. That's really freaking lame. You don't want to be known as that. So I don't know what year, 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. I'm sitting in a outside cafe, fall time, Netherlands, and I took a couple pictures, and I see two dudes at an adjacent table. One of them said, "Hey, did you just take a picture?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, that's funny. My friend does that." Okay. A few people do it. Well, is that all you do? And I'm like, what do you mean is that all I do? I'm a commercial photographer. Well, so it's your side gig. And I'm like, nobody can make this their living. And he's like, well, you can make it the only kind of photography you do. And I'm like, so this guy's got to be an academic. So he comes to sit with me for a second. And the funny thing was he didn't know. And I know it's on a drive somewhere, but I recorded the whole conversation. And someday when I have the time to make the next street thing that literally was shot over the course of 6, 7 years, 8 years maybe, I'll definitely find it because I know I didn't trash it. But I thought about it, and I know a lot of photographers who enjoy doing their version of street, and there are so many versions. And yeah, I know in the past I've said it has to be, I didn't say it has to be. I said, in the context of where I put what I put, it was on DeviantArt, and people were putting pictures of fucking streets in street photography, and it's not like, and I mean, yeah, I get it. It was a drop down category. So for what was on DeviantArt, I put kind of a guide out there, and that guide made it everywhere else because there was so very little written about that genre. And from that, I've gotten a lot of shit. I didn't mean to say this is the only way it can be done. And I think I was a little vociferous about how I said it to certain people, and these people didn't like it very much because, and I don't know why, but getting back to this Netherlands guy, the academic guy, and in fact, he gave me his email address, and it was dot whatever it was, like university. And I told him, I said, most of the people who actually done street photography have never considered themselves street photographers. It is always their side gig. You can't make it your first gig. I mean, come on. Who makes money doing street photography? There's like one guy, but I don't even know how true that is for that dude. It could be. I don't know, but yeah, that's beautiful. So there's this article, and I check probably 8 different sites a couple times a week when I'm having espresso in the morning, and this is like, if DP Review is here, this is way down here. And I gotta think that sites like that are gonna end up dying because print is dying, and the aging, the boomers aging out of print, sadly, they have to go to DP Reviews, and they have to go to places like that. I don't even know why they do that, because there's such better information other places. And if you look at DP Reviews, are they called sample photos? I don't know, but largely they're awful. And this other site, which wishes they were DP Review, there was an article about street photography, and I'm sure this dude was trying to impress a certain group of people. And I'm trying to be really careful about what I say. I'm not going to identify who that guy is. The article he referenced, I should just say they, because that'd be, because, it's a they world now. So the premise was, and I'm going to pull it up just so I have it in front of me. I feel like I already did. Because what you don't see is my computer's right here. It wasn't that. Oh, here we go. So the premise of this article, and it was written somewhat pedantically. I wouldn't expect, and even some of it was like literally pictures of streets, and that's this dude's definition of street photography. But since certain people are in certain environments and ecosystems, they have to impress people in those ecosystems. And I'll digress again, because the reason I basically stopped saying anything about street photography, because it wasn't fucking worth it. If you weren't part of a certain gang where, yeah, I know, I'm sure they were successful at something, but anybody who wasn't accepted by them was literally not chased down, not like the way you see other things happening, but they would basically just digitally try to, not that they could really do anything, because and I was saying there were nobodies, so I'm sure there was somebody to somebody. I mean, some sycophant has to look up to somebody, right? Well, I think what it seemed to me was, because it wasn't like I went to where these photos were posted. I wouldn't say it was a site per se, but there, it was a feed, and you had to be approved to be in that feed, and it was absolutely a fiefdom, and all of the people in there, I mean, I'm sure some of them are still around. They're not in the world I'm in. I know people who work as photographers, and I would say that 99.9% of the people who said they were street photographers, that's all they did. Their currency was literally likes and comments. And maybe they sold a $10 zine to somebody, or maybe they got social media rich. I mean, I know some people who have really high numbers and no jobs, which I've had this conversation with so many other people, and I would rather put my energy into getting work, real work, instead of putting up a photo every day on Insta. Who cares? So my point was, this group made street photography a competition. And I think, and not only that, a dude named, where was he? Channel dashboard. Let's see his comments. This dude named Michael, and he said people identify as street photographers approach the pursuit on a more competitive than artistic level. And he's absolutely right. And he also went on to say the trait makes it difficult to appreciate good work and other people have done, which of course means street photographers couldn't give a solitary fuck about financially rewarding somebody by purchasing a print. And you know what? I've purchased a lot of prints from a lot of people, and I've done a lot of print trades with a lot of people, and those hang all over my house. And you'll probably never see that. But you won't see that. I've also bought things at auction. Beautiful shit. Beautiful stuff at certain auctions that nobody knew that was a Edouard Bouba. And I got it for the minimum reserve, which is crazy because the thing has appreciated 100x. And, Michael went on to say there are many exceptions to this rule, of course. And it's a vibe that definitely still exists. I don't know if it exists because I don't follow that at all. I still post once in a while on Insta. But these guys they went from kind of like one platform to Insta where everybody went. And I'm sure they're on Facebook too, but I would never be a part of any of the Facebook groups for street photography. No fucking way. It's probably the same ethos. It's probably the same mindset. So I think that street photography, at least for me, has always been a real benevolent pursuit to just, I don't fucking get in people's faces. And you know what? I get it. That's a style. And, some of their ringleaders love that style. But they were always searching for something. And you could say, oh, that's a so-and-so photo. But in 6 months, he wasn't doing that anymore because he got tired of it. Or, I don't know, you get in someone's face, the wrong person's face with the camera, you're going to fucking get hit. And I get especially if you're a woman, and some rando dude walks up and just bang, bang, bang. And I know people are like, oh, well, if you're not seen by them, it's not real street photography. Well, you know what? That's your definition. And that's cool. If that's what you think, that's fine. And go ahead. I think that by taking that stance, I don't know, making it harder for the rest of the people who, like, okay, upskirts, fuck you. That's bullshit. Don't do that shit. Taking pictures of fucking girls' legs and their feet and shit, that's fucked up. Like, there are pervy McPerversons out there, okay? They're not street photographers. And the dude who I'm talking about, he quoted an article written by someone with about 4 followers on Twitter. And I mean, I don't know. They only follow maybe 100 people. So she really is a nobody. And I know that sounds like fucked up. Oh, I'm persecuting her by calling her a nobody. But I checked, there is no like anti-street photography bill in New York City. Perhaps she talked to a councilman there, like the city council in New York, but making it illegal to not take a photo without consent, that is absolute fucking bullshit. And you know what? I hope by using all these F-bombs, this takes the algorithm way down, because literally I do this for 10 people. I swear. I don't believe that most people who really do enjoy making unobtrusive street photography shots, I don't think they're being exploitive. I really don't. And like, hey, Gilden's got a shtick, and I've probably talked to him more than anybody watching this. Unless his wife watches it, or someone who's like in Magnum or something. But what I discovered about him by talking to him, and I think I talked to him for maybe 4 hours, on and off, during a wedding reception. His photography is definitely his personality. And, a lot of people say anything you create has part of you in it. And, he's a big brash. He's actually really nice. I would never pay to have anything like his on my walls. And that's not saying I don't like it. It's not my taste. And, good for him that he's been able to, basically do that and only that and get to be who he is and what he's done. You don't really hear about that lately, but maybe that's because of COVID. I don't know. I think a lot of those old dudes are kind of laying low. Maybe. I mean, one of them from that collective, I think he was kicked out or he resigned or something, because, the days of hey, toots, and, slapping somebody on the ass, those are, thank God. And luckily, but you know what? My kid, 27-year-old female, she still tells me stories that the fucking shit dudes will do is ridiculous. But anyway, going back to this guy. He believes that street photography, and what does he say exactly? Well, he says it's essentially assault. Street photography is assault. A lot of what he does is a lot of what he posted is like street portraits. And not only that, he also made some hip shots that clearly they're not even good. So if you're not a good street photographer, I think it's real easy to say, oh, it should be illegal. I've moved on to greener pastures. I've become a staffer. And yeah, I know a lot of staffers who are great photographers. I also know a lot who are lazy bastards. Yeah, I would say that most of these they're like urban landscape is not street. If there's a person in it giving it scale, It's still an urban landscape with a human in their environment as scale. Yeah, I couldn't disagree more with street photography being illegal and going into like, I'm sure if I read deeper, which I'm not going to because it was hard to read anyway. I think it was set for a certain audience so that they said, "Oh, that was so brave of you to write that. That's so brave." No, it's not. It's fucking pandering. Just like most everything else out there. It's fucking pandering. I think if your intentions are just to document what's around you, and I've always, I mean, it hasn't ever been my style to get in your face. Have I made photos where I got in someone's face? I mean, inadvertently, yes. But like one was from a really obnoxious church and they were always right there. So I was like, okay, I'll just get in your face. I don't care. I didn't even feel that mattered, but I'm sure they might remember it to this day. I don't know. But I think when street photography became competitive, as it did, it had to have been 8 years ago, 9 years ago. What, it's 2021. It had to have been around 2011 or so. Yeah, because I remember that conversation we had it was 2011 or 2012. And it's not competitive. If that's the only thing you have going as a photographer, and the bar for entry into street photography is pretty fucking low. You get a camera, go fucking walk around. And you can do it basically anywhere. There have to be people, I mean, unless you're just making urban landscape and saying, oh, it's street. Okay, fine. I don't follow the street community. I don't follow any of the street hashtags on Instagram because I'm sure it's filled with similar, if not the same people who, I mean, I knew a few of them that I think they sold all their cameras. In fact, I know people that would like buy a new camera every 6 months because they thought it would do something different. And in fact, they would buy a Leica. Oh, that's going to make me a real street photographer. And a lot of people just fade away. And that kind of means to me that they never really truly loved it in the first place. And, I think to do anything well, you have to love it. You really do. And I think if you make statements about, and even if you say, oh, well, I love street photography, but it should be illegal. You don't love it. You're just writing to get clickbait, or it's a clickbait title, which it was. Luckily, even though a certain newspaper in New York published the other article written by someone who said they were assaulted by a street photographer. Come on, give me a break. Someone taking your picture is not assaulting you. It may seem, even Bruce Gilden's not assaulting you. If you look at the definition of assault, it's not what taking a picture of someone. Sure, other countries, absolutely, but they don't have a constitution. Well, they may have one, but it's not like ours. And ours, until I see something, if you're in the public, you can be photographed. And I remember I was somewhere and some news guy started filming me, and I was just like, dude, really? I'm not doing anything. He's like, action, reaction. And I'm like, yeah, you just want to get back to the van, cut something together, even though it's banal as hell. And I totally dressed him down, and I think he felt bad, and I didn't make the news, so I checked. Because I wasn't even fucking doing anything. I think it's not marginalizing people. It's not... I'm just amazed, actually, that, like, this dude talked about every single inclusive buzzword touch point. I mean, he didn't talk about critical race theory. Maybe it wasn't in the current vernacular at the time, but I mean, it has been for a while. Anyway, I just think there's no way street photography should be a crime. Even the dudes who I don't think, who are in your face with a flash and that's what their shtick is, that's cool. And he's going to sell way more fucking prints than I'm ever going to sell. But again, I make money working as a photographer and not a street photographer. So, and I compete with other photographers. Maybe some of them are street photographers. I don't fucking know. But all I do know is hearing that these people label street photography something that it clearly is not is fucking lame. But anyway, hope it finds you well.